Keep right with Ralph K. Ginorio. Freedom is the answer, not the problem. For more than a century, avant garde dreamers have pointed to somewhere in Europe and said to Americans, "This is our future." Before the fall of the Soviets, many of the most fashionable of these luminaries indicated that communist Russia, of all places, led the way towards a progressively socialist utopia. The mixed economies of progressive Scandinavia were touted as the most advanced of societies, at least until contemporary 2010s mass immigration from beyond the West brought matters there to a crisis. Unlike what they call our problematically regressive American Republic, 1950s to 2000s Norway, Sweden, and Denmark were praised for being harmonious and comfortable communities without excessive violence or conspicuous poverty. Continental Europeans adopted this communitarian model both before and after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. To an extent, the rest of the English speaking world has also accepted socialism's welfare state. The United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand each embrace an incremental shift leftward that would be impossible under the United States Constitution. An air of inevitability heralds these increasingly leftist politics. Progressives and other variants of socialists have always excelled in the sophistry of propaganda. In service to their agenda, they redefine some words and ban others, always infusing unrestrained emotionalism into every controversial issue. They imply or even explicitly state that only a bigot could believe in principles that violate their cherished assumptions. Bigotry is hateful to its core, so any bigoted person must be muzzled to protect the innocent. Britain's censorious Online Safety Act is merely the most recent attempt by international socialist elites to muzzle the free expression of anyone who dissents. Utopia apparently cannot long endure people with diverse views engaging in a boisterous debate. Most Americans would be shocked at the blatant intrusiveness of governments within what used to be called the free world. Even standing silently over half a city block away from an abortion facility violated Britain's free speech controls, resulting in significant jail time for a person who was silently praying. Government regulation goes well beyond the suppression of political dissent. In Britain, unless one is a Muslim, too loudly proclaiming any religious idea is basically functionally illegal. In many nations, there is a list of approved baby names for girls and boys from which parents must choose. In France, since Charles de Gaulle, a government sponsored language commission assiduously weeds official French of foreign derived terms, replacing them with acceptable French substitutes. From how private citizens use their land, handle their garbage, heat their homes, decorate their possessions, buy their goods, and otherwise live their lives, bureaucrats have the final say in regulating human activity within these evolved societies. Human autonomy and personal judgment are controlled as if freedom itself were the primary threat to humanity's ongoing survival. Thomas Hobbes once described this view of society as constituting a great body as the Leviathan. Imagine each person is a cell in a giant life form that constitutes the nation, just as every bodily cell has its distinct purpose. Every individual fills a specific role within society. This interdependence requires that each cell stay in its preordained place, limited to its particular function. Uncontrolled cellular growth within a body is cancerous and will eventually kill the larger life form. Just as cancer cells must be excised and life functions regularized within a human body, socialists demand that the individual must conform to the needs of the society for the common good. They demand all of us must become resigned to their limitation of our scope and our circumstances. Another term for this is feudalism, a society where parentage determines destiny. It should be obvious why elites espouse socialism and its pretense of utopia. Such a society is both hierarchical and stable. This favors those elites ruling in the present moment, ensuring that their progeny's supremacy over everyone else in countless future generations is attained. The utopia proclaimed by progressive evolutionary socialists, revolutionary fascists and national socialists, and revolutionary international communist socialists is nothing more than a high tech feudalism. Far from being egalitarian, these vaunted utopias lock everyone into a social order which stifles unpredictable creativity and suppresses destabilizing dissent. Our Constitution, rooted in Enlightenment philosophy and expressed in a history of personal liberty and limited government, has thus far largely protected Americans from the siren song of utopian socialism. Personal choice, far from being a cancer, is what defines us and explains both our prosperous material successes and genuine social progress. Yes, democracy and republics are better at achieving real social progress than are socialists of any stripe. Individual liberty is not the primary source of social problems, as socialists of all types proclaim. Our freedom is instead, along with God's grace, the primary source of our liberation from tyranny, misery, and want. Thank you for listening.